Again, our main prop that we use throughout the show kind of like goes through the whole horn line to kind of tie this moment together. I'm Jeff Saktic. I'm the visual designer for Carolina Crown. I'm the visual designer, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that you see here. It was a big setup pre-show, a big countdown into, here we go, like a rock concert in the groove, and we roll on cue. Cameras ready, lights, action, take off. As you see, we use fabric as our primary means of a prop. And you saw the first initiation of this explosion of color out of the center. The uniforms are tailored with an orange sash as a continuation of that thought. This whole beginning to me was about flying and freeing. You know, when you hear the music and you look at the drill, it's like we're kind of flying, curvilinear shapes. This moment right here, we closed everybody in, you know, to highlight the color guard at that moment. If you notice, we have an infinity prop, and that symbol is used throughout the show. You just saw a big one as the core kind of spun around when all the elements came together. You know, working through building of design elements into unity, into, you know, closed structure, into full mass engagement here. As you kind of see, the brass is the center of focus. The percussion had their moment to start, and the horn line kind of take it over here. So we kind of pass the buck around to each of the sections so they all have a moment to communicate to the audience. And the sound of that Carolina Crown brass line, that first impact, you know, shook the stadium right there. The anticipation, we purposely, you know, offset that a little bit from the beginning of the show, so the wait, it was worth the wait when it finally happened. So we hope at this point we've took you on sort of a roller coaster ride of an event of where we went through. We've had audience engagement, we had a back and forth, and we kind of chose to, you know, do a lot of different things within that production. And then we kind of soften it up here in our middle section here. And here's an opportunity for us to use the fabric, you know, more loosely. We did it a couple times earlier where we pulled it apart and put it together, we wrapped it around, and here we kind of stretch it out a little bit. To keep, you know, every member in the brass section will be connected at this next moment as we kind of resolve the phrase. We continue that idea of fabric and the length of that with the sabers. There's a duality of how that kind of relates, so it kind of fits together nicely. A little softer, little less structured, more light. The drama of pulling down the piece of fabric off the backstage, the dancers that kind of do that, kind of informs and breaks up the action that's happening prior to it. You know, the staging of the brass on side one with the low brass opens the negative space, so we can really see the sabers and their contributions, and change of space right there just as we pair up and we burst back out. And as that happens, the big expansion on side one of the fabric as it opens up. And again, another idea to use non-traditional props with fabric. Again, this was a 75 by 90 foot oval shape that we used with cutouts that the high brass kind of popped out through. It was a cool effect. There was always kind of oohs and ahs in the audience. And we really kind of used this moment to highlight the color guard as well. So there's very minimal motion that kind of happens through the section. You know, we're at the high camera angle here. When you're a little closer to it, it's so cool how that fabric moves and how the performers kind of communicate, even though most of their bodies are covered. The costuming was all kind of developed with the fact that the white top would come through and you would see that on top of the white, so the color balance between what was going on side one, side two was really nicely tied together. You know, we have a great bunch of designers who work through graphic ideas to make sure we have cool colors and richness on the field. percussion takes over for a little second here, and then basically we're gearing up to kind of put a stamp on this show. Music is strong and powerful, tempo is up there, manipulation of what we do with the brass and the color guards to kind of take over the stage. Fast feeds here, kids are moving. We bring this down to one performer, highlight our set player, it's right there. And then we just kind of sail to the end here, you know? Constant contrary motion, development of phrase within phrases, you know? Contrast and resolve, a little bit of like, put it on the brakes here, re-gear, another gear change. Again, our main prop that we use throughout the show kind of like goes through the whole horn line to kind of tie this moment together. Full field coverage with the flags. Punctuation of the title page, and of course what everybody wants to see, the development into the crown. What's significant about this crown, it never stops. It kind of keeps going. It has an evolution. You know, since I've been starting writing for Crown, it's always kind of a crown at some point in the show, but I always try to connect it to the concept of the show, you know. An everlasting moment. If we can all live in this moment here at Caroline and Crown. It was an awesome year for us. The performers really enjoyed performing the show every night. To watch 10,000 people with phones lighting and flashing at them and to have that energy. Even before we started the show, there was playfulness of starting a wave through the crowd that kind of amped up the audience before we even started the show. And through repetition on the field or through the app, it was such an awesome production. I was so proud to be a part of it, and it's a special place in my heart. And I can't wait to continue on next year.